You all set, Wendy? If you have any intention of using your mics, you might have to turn them over and turn them back on.
They're all on mic.
Everybody have them? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, apologize for the lateness here, but I'll go ahead and call the meeting of public service to order at 25 minutes to 11. Becky, would you if you have a cell phone, would you please mute it or turn it off, please? Becky, would you go ahead and do roll?
Sure. Mike Copine,
Here.
Keen Hudson,
Present.
Katie White, Angie Shippert. Here. Mike Pearson.
There's Mike.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We got Terry's up there. Okay, good. Okay, I don't see anybody public that isn't connected. Okay. Did everybody have a chance to look at last month's minutes? And if so, are there any corrections, additions, or changes that need to be made? If not, they'll stand approved as read. We will move into animal control for our first department report. Terry, do you have anything?
Morning, everybody. I really don't have anything other than we have another full house. People relinquishing their dogs, people not reclaiming their dogs. I don't feel like this is going to get any better, but just to let you know, that's about all of the headache around here.
Terry, I have a question. Of course, I usually research on Facebook. Are you getting an influx of dogs that have been reported missing, or people are just running across dogs? How many are you getting from people finding them?
I'd say a little bit less, like more so people are finding them out and about as lost more than anything. And then there's people that, well, this last one, the guy is homeless and he had 3 dogs. So, can't turn him down. I mean, don't want to leave them out in the street either.
How many animals can we hold out there?
I think I ended up with 10 kennels, I believe.
Terry, is this like a normal flow of relinquishment, or is there an uptick in it?
There's an uptick.
Do you know what's causing it mainly?
To be honest, I don't know. I thought during COVID it would be we would have more dogs, but now it's just people. I think a lot of it is they can't afford, or like I said, people don't have anywhere to live. I think that's a lot of it, or they're moving and they can't take them. So it's kind of an array of things.
Okay, thank you, Terry.
You're welcome, Keen.
Terry, do you think with the new ordinance laws for animal controls now, because, the so-called so many hours a person feeds or takes shelters an animal, now they actually are in possession of that animal and the obligations are to have them, vaccinated and, whatever. Do you think that has been creating this?
Can you reword that?
Well, with the new ordinance under animal control now, that after so many hours, if a person shelters or feeds a dog or cat, basically, according to the law, they now are in possession and so-called owner of that animal. Now it's their obligation to have it vaccinated, neutered, spayed.
Correct. Yes,
You think-
that is a state statute also.
Right,
Yeah.
yes. But do you think that has caused some of this?
And I don't really think so, Keen. I think it's just a lot of people are in bad situations. And like I said, people moving, not reclaiming their dogs. I don't know what else to say other than also, we're having a hard time moving our animals because, I shouldn't say, so some rescues are in Illinois are bringing dogs up from other states. So they are filling our local shelters that we usually take our animals to. And so we have to wait even longer now for them to get space to even take a couple dogs. So it's a little frustrating on our part too. And we try to get people out here. I thought about doing maybe an adoption event. A lot of people don't know that we do adoptions, even though we've been doing them for years and years.
Mhm.
So I think it would be a good idea, maybe when it gets nice again, to do an adoption event. So it could be like an outside thing. Or if we have a couple nice days, we won't be able to just do it like tomorrow. It takes some planning. So.
Terry, in the past of the area or any closely associated pet stores participated with Lee County specifically on a pet adoption? I've seen some of those go on and they seem to be somewhat successful.
Some of the pet stores, usually they'll take cats from shelters and from like foster people and put them in their PetSmart, Pet Supplies Plus. They take usually cats that I've seen.
I think probably been a year or so, but I had witnessed where they would even bring the animals in and let the people interact with them.
Oh,
I
like
don't-
kind of walk around with them. Oh,
Right.
yeah, we have done that before. Like Tractor Supply has asked us in the past. It just depends on when they have an event going. But we have gone before, yeah.
Of course, as always, the magic word liability comes up, and I'm sure that interacts with some of the potential of having something like that for fear of what might happen with strangers and dogs. So-
Right. Well, we won't take, the only ones that we would take is ones that we've already got fully vaccinated and spayed or neutered. So, even if something did happen, at least they'd be covered as far as vaccines.
Right. Anybody else have any questions of Terry? Okay, thanks, Terry. I appreciate it.
It's Mike.
Okay, I'm not seeing anybody present for the coroner, judges, or public defender. Okay, Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Lally.
Good morning. Thank you. The only thing, you've got my report in the packet. Just want to highlight on one of the uses of our UAS that's in the packet also, but I just want to highlight it very quickly. Grandmother called into the sheriff's department back in August, dropped off 3 grandsons in the river, and they were going to go floating. 3 hours later, she called back and said, "I can't find them. They're not there." And the deputies, one deputy went to start looking at the bridges. The other picked up one of the drones, and they went and flew. The deputy checking all the bridges, while the other deputy went to a bridge and flew. In 12 seconds, he found those missing 3 grandsons. The grandmother was very happy, but otherwise it was starting to get late in the day. Searches always do, it seems like. But otherwise, we'd had fire department walking the river. We'd had, aircraft flying. So having that aircraft available really helped find these kids. And grandmother was very happy. She thought the Green River went in a circle and they come back around to the beginning. So.
I got to be careful in this comment, but that's an answer to a question that generally will come up. Why do we need 2 drones? That, and I'm not asking you, that's just a statement on my part to say there is a good example. So, anybody have any questions? I'm sorry, do you have anything else?
No, that's all I want to highlight on.
Does
I'll just-
anybody have any questions from Kevin? Okay, thanks, Kevin. Amy, my apology. Was on a roll downhill. When
Yeah,
get
you
me
were.
going-
That's okay, though.
You
Thanks.
get me going downhill, I can't stop.
I know. Went all the way to the river. I don't have a lot. I did submit my office report. I'm not sure if you've all read that, but last month, myself, along with Judge Klon and the team from Winnebago County, attended the Court Technology Conference in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a humongous event. It was just amazing. I can tell you their hot topic was artificial intelligence in the courts. So that was a little crazy, but it was interesting. But that's not what we were there for. So we were there to look at case management vendors, vendors, and there was quite a few. We did look at one called Journal Technologies. They did give us a demonstration. And I believe Winnebago County is having them come there to do a demonstration as well. I'm trying to correlate with them. I haven't reached out to them exactly when, just for the county, and we might be able to go attend that as well. So that was it was a big conference. It was great. We also have another, on October 17th, we have Goodens and Associates coming to the courthouse for a demonstration. If anybody wants to attend, let me know. We are doing it at noon and we are providing lunch. So if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to me and let me know. I can put you on the list. And that's going to be in Kevin's office, emergency management. So he was grateful to let us have it there because you got a nice, beautiful office. Lots of screens we're going to need. Also, we are short-staffed. I'm down 2 full-time and 1 part-time position. It's kind of hard right now getting people to apply. I don't know why. I've interviewed numerous people, called numerous people. They haven't called back. People are not showing. So we're short-staffed, but we're working on getting that there. But it's kind of a hard time right now, having people apply at all. So I also wanted to say Amy Procunier has worked in the circuit clerk's office for 25 years this month. So that's great. We will hopefully be honoring her at the county board meeting if that gets passed through. That's all I've got. Any questions?
Okay, anybody have any questions for Amy?
I had a couple questions. When it comes to the new technology you're looking at, do these vendors say like you'll save a certain number of hours or like efficiency that's going to be gained?
Yeah, depending on what the court, every county is different on how they do things through the court. So we're trying to make it to what Lee County wants, like what the judges want, what's easier. If we can do our minutes in court, yeah, what they have to offer is absolutely going to heighten the productivity and efficiency of doing the work. So yes, we have that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Do you foresee that including something with AI?
Not at this point, no, but it would be great. Maybe in the future, but not right now, no.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks,
Okay,
Amy.
You're welcome.
Okay, no other questions. So I don't skip over anybody. Mr. Boonstra, State's Attorney's Office is not here.
Mike, did Charlie let you know that he had an appointment and he wasn't sure if he'd make it back in time, but he did let me know that before he left, that he hoped to be back, but wasn't sure.
Okay, if he comes back, remind me. We'll get his report then.
Stacy also texted me and said that she would not be at the meeting this morning, so.
Okay,
But she did provide a written report that's in the
okay,
packet.
thank you.
Mhm.
Well, I'm on a roll. I skipped over another one, probation department, and Stacy's not here, so that moves us down to sheriff. You're up.
I did provide a monthly report in the onboard. Looks like 832 calls for service over the month of September. We did have a resolution to an missing person investigation in mid-September. Unfortunately, it was the resolution we did not want to see. We had another situation at the end of September. It's also in the onboard and described that also wasn't the type of resolution we wanted to see, but we had to exhaust some investigative man hours on both of those situations. At the end of November, Dave Glessner, he was a lieutenant with us, has announced his retirement. He's got over 28 years of service for Lee County, so we'll have an opening there. And unfortunately, on Friday, I got bad news that a patrol deputy and a corrections deputy are both at the very last stages of hiring process for Ogle County, so we might be losing 2 more.
Okay. Time marches on. Any questions for the sheriff?
Sheriff, how will we sit staff wise, deputy wise after those things play out?
We'll definitely be behind the 8 ball because it takes, the Corrections Academy is 8 weeks, and then you have to do a field training process for the individuals to learn all the nuances of the Lee County Law Enforcement Center and the paperwork. The Law Enforcement Academy is 16 weeks in length, and then there's usually 3 months where you're shadowing somebody in a field training process to learn all the different types of arrests, responses, and the paperwork associated therein. So realistically, it takes about 10 months from hiring to finish to somebody's out on their own for the corrections, and takes about a year for somebody to be out on their own on patrol. So
Okay.
unfortunately, that causes some staffing issues as far as, minimum staffing, overtime, what have you.
Do we have any sort of solutions? I mean, obviously there's,
Sure.
have you guys come up with anything?
The only thing is we're currently in contract negotiations. I believe I put in my onboard that, they've gone stale. We're heading towards mediation. A lot of the comparables around us are paying more, and we got to get competitive somehow to keep this revolving door from going.
Another question I had is about illegal migrants. Do you have any sort of sense of how many there might be in the county, if they've come into the county?
I really haven't seen anything or heard anything about them coming into Lee County. I think it's more the Chicago area. I have heard of situations where actually Chicago Police Department is housing them within their precinct headquarters. So, but as far as coming out westward, I have not heard anything yet at this point.
Okay. Have you heard anything, Kevin, on your side about that?
Again, mostly, the Chicago areas where the people are being transported. They're, again, what the sheriff said, they're sleeping in and outside of police headquarters. So it is an issue, but we did plan and look forward into the future. If this would happen to us, what we could do, it's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be very costly if they come. So if a bus stops here, so they're mostly being transported by bus from the border to Chicago or to New York. Or
Is there any sort of threat, for example, when they come in and cross the border, are their weapons seized?
I'm sure there's weapons seized. I'm sure there's drugs seized, but it's been such an influx that you probably don't hear about the major bus. I think they're pretty busy down at the border trying to corral everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Sheriff, I have a question. Maybe I shouldn't ask it, but for nose purposes or curiosity, are migrants that are coming in supposedly being capable or permitted to become involved in law enforcement careers?
I believe they did pass that legislation down in Springfield. It's my understanding that unless you are a naturalized citizen gone through the process, that federal law does not allow you to carry a firearm, is my understanding. So at this point, the state did pass a law to allow for them to be hired. However, it's controvert to federal law. So therefore, it's at a stalemate.
So theoretically, then nothing of that will be.
Correct,
Okay.
unless they become a naturalized citizen.
To wrap up my curiosity, what, if any, reasoning was utilized to come to that point of passing that particular bill?
Well, the rationale was that we can't find candidates for law enforcement right now. And these individuals had been in the country for, I believe, since prior to 2009. So they've been brought up in our school systems. They've proven to be, good students, good stewards of the community. Therefore, they were trying to bring more people into potentially law enforcement. However, when you're swearing to uphold the Constitution, you need to be a citizen. So I'm for opening the pool. However, I would like to see them go through the process and be naturalized citizens first. And then we'd welcome them with open arms. I'd like to get some good candidates, good workers.
The thought was probably a positive. A lot of the paperwork and application specifically in some point ask if you are a U.S. citizen.
Correct.
So, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions? Thanks, Sheriff, appreciate it. Okay, Charlie's here. Okay, Wendy, I'm going to turn to you and then I got to, maybe my comments could fall either under this or unfinished business. So as far as the report of abandoned property focus group, do you have any additionals that we haven't already repeated a couple of times?
Nope, other than, as I mentioned at the earlier meeting, the grant that we received to be able to, allocate, keeping in mind, I don't know if I said it earlier today, the grant is for residential properties. And of course, at the county level, a number of our properties that are on our immediate horizon are the commercial type of properties. So the grant won't apply to those. We are still hoping, though, that the grant will help us by reimbursing the 2 residential properties that we've already mitigated, which will free up some resources to maybe tackle those commercial ones that are on the immediate horizon. Other than that, I don't really have anything except to say, Mike, help me and to the rest of the Abandoned Properties Committee members, help me remember to get something scheduled the Friday before committee week so that we can kind of regroup and talk about the status of where we're at with all of our properties. I think we need to do that. We haven't met for a couple of months and I think we need to regroup and I can give you a few updates.
Okay. I think we need that. I'm just going to go ahead and comment at something that I've taken upon myself to do. Last meeting week that we had when I left here, since I had to go back to Amboy, I traveled down through Aldina, stopped and looked at the school there. And there's some actions that need to be taken there to secure the building. From there, I went on down to Robbins Road and Route 30, which was a residential location that's overgrown by everything, and made note of that. Drove to Lee Center, but on the way to Lee Center, I drove down Eldina Road, drove by the old nursing home that's there, did a follow-up check with communications that was sent to the property owner. And then there has been no response or reply to that first communication. So I asked that a follow-up communication be generated and again attempted. Then drove to our infamous school in Lee Center. Fortunately, and with the help of the Sheriff's Department, again, that was re-secured and nothing's going on other than what we have in place right now as far as the status of it. So I did check on those 4 locations. I'm going to go a little further east just to look and see what's going on. I do understand, and I have seen it, that the roof is caved in on what used to be the old restaurant at that hotel. Excuse me. So I guess maybe we can discuss that at this focus get together and see if we need to reapproach that again. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, just to get everybody back up to speed on the status of everything.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Yes, Dean.
It's on the same subject, Wendy. Before we have our next focus group meeting, do you think that, I know there's 3 sides to this grant that we received. Do you know how that's going to break down by then or how that's going to happen or work?
I don't. I spent quite a bit of time yesterday excuse me, reading through the grant just to verify the requirements of the grant. And I feel like I got to get a handle on that before we can move forward. As I said earlier, the grant, Lee County was the grantor or the requester of the grant, but we did it in partnership with the city of Dixon and Franklin Grove, Village of Franklin Grove. Now we've got to check and see of the properties we submitted for assistance, those will even qualify. And that's what's up in the air right now. For example, our hope was to get reimbursed for those 2 properties, but there seems to be some confusion about whether we would qualify for that. So at this point, I'm following up on that to determine that. And then the other properties in Franklin Grove and the city, there are certain criteria that will meet the definition of the grant for abandoned properties. And I just have to go through the checklist and make sure those properties are all going to meet that. And then, yes, we have to make a decision about how are we going to go forward with that, with the allocation of that grant.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, I'm not showing anything under unfinished business, nor am I showing anything for new business, unless, Wendy, there might be something that,
Nothing I'm aware of.
okay, I have nothing for a request for executive session, so I would, unless anybody has any questions that they thought of. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion.
Motion by Angie,
Second.
seconded by Keen. Okay, Mike, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand up there. We're going to give you a semaphore flag, you know, I'll get one and you can have one. That way I can beat Tom out on his voting here. Okay, Terry, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you, everyone. I